Well, hi everyone. This is Carrie back with How to Homeschool My Child. I am running a little bit late again, I guess, but it's because I can't find my journal and it had a few verses that I wanted to share today. I'm going to make this short and sweet, and I've already written a few posts, a few ideas about what is the most important conversation that you can have with your kids at Christmas time. I was really challenged with this question yesterday at church, and it made me realize how important it is that we actually spend some time talking to our kids. We talk about Advent. I share a lot of activities that you can do to encourage your kids to get their eyes focused on Jesus Christ. But this one activity or one conversation, I think, will make a world of difference. And it's so simple, and it's something we all know that we should do. And I'm going to push the button because I just went on low battery mode. There we go. So I can make it to the end. That means it'll be really short and sweet. What is the most important talk that you can have with your kids at Christmas time? Yesterday at church, our pastor actually he challenged all the parents in the room to take 10 minutes between now and Christmas. 10 minutes, sometime in the next week and a half, and just share the gospel with your kids. And in that 10 minutes, share the Romans Road if you need to, whatever is the easiest and best way for you to share the gospel. Share that with them for about 10 minutes or even shorter, and then let them ask questions. That's what Christmas is all about. It's all about the good news of Jesus. We talk about Advent. We have the candle of hope and joy and peace and love. But let's make sure that we remember to share the gospel. And not just with kids that you think can understand it. I think it's important. And he said this yesterday, and I was like, so true. He said, share the gospel with your 1-year-old. They may not understand it, but you are speaking truth and it is going in their ears. Speak the gospel with your 4, 5, or 6-year-old. Speak the gospel with your 10 or 11-year-old. Tell the gospel to your kids. Just take 10 minutes between now and Christmas to share the gospel with your kids. Tell them that they are sinners and they can't make it to heaven by themselves, that Jesus was a perfect person and he died in their place, and they can put their faith in him and they can receive salvation from their sins. They can be saved and be part of God's family. And I could go into more detail, but that's a very nutshell view, and that's what you can tell your kids. Too often as adults, we want to complicate it with our kids. This is Christmas. I know a lot of times we wait till Easter to share the gospel because that's when Jesus died for our sins, but this is a perfect time also. And I think it's important that we share the gospel with our kids on a regular basis. It's not just a 1 or 2 times, and we don't wait until you think your children can understand the gospel, because you don't know when your kids are going to understand the gospel. Only God does. You are called to be faithful to his word and faithful to share his word. I will share one of the stories of our kids. Ashley, we were eating lunch, and I think she was about 4 years old, and I was cleaning the kitchen and they were sitting at the table, and she said, "Hey Mom, can you come here?" And I wanted to say, "No, I can't come here. I got to clean the kitchen. Let's get ready so that y'all can read and have naps and quiet time." But God was gracious to me, and he let me say, "Okay." And I walked over to the table, and I was like, "What do you want to say?" And she's like, "I want to believe in Jesus. Can I do that right now?" I had no idea. She was 4 years old at the time, and we talked about it, and she prayed right there. I didn't wait till Steve came home, although I wanted him to be there. Gentry actually prayed at nighttime when we were both there. So it doesn't matter. They can talk about it later. You are your kids' parents, and you are responsible for sharing the gospel, the good news. I was looking for the verse in Isaiah, and I couldn't find it, but I remembered Romans. So even though I don't have my journal, I am going to close with this verse. In Romans 10, verses 14 and on, it says, "But how can they call on him to save them unless they believe in him? And how can they believe in him if they have never heard about him?" You may take them to church. You may be going, "Oh, the pastor's going to tell them. Oh, the Sunday school teacher's going to tell them. Oh, the Awana teacher's going to tell them." No, it is your responsibility to share the gospel with your children. How can they believe in him if they have never heard about him? And how can they hear about him unless someone tells them? That's you, parents, mom. And how can they hear about them unless someone tells them? How will anyone go and tell without being sent? And this is my favorite part. This is why the scriptures say, how beautiful are the feet of the messengers who bring good news. How beautiful are the feet of you, Mom, when you bring the gospel. The gospel is good news. That's what it means. How beautiful are your feet when you share the gospel with your own children. Take 10 minutes between now and Christmas. Share the gospel with your kids and then let them ask questions. Even if your kids are 6 months, 9 months, a year and a half, share the gospel with them and keep telling it to them. And someday it's going to make sense. We just don't know when. Some kids understand it at 3. Some don't understand it till they're 13. So just take a few minutes this week or next week. Share the gospel and let them ask questions and talk about it. To me, that is the most important conversation, the most important talk that you can have with your children at Christmas time. Yes, we want to teach them the ideas of service. We want to teach them the idea that Jesus came and he was a baby. But even more important, why did he come? And let's make it a bigger picture. Share the gospel, share the good news. And then they will have those Advent candles of hope and joy and peace and love, because they will have Jesus in them, and that is who has everything. Thanks so much for spending time with me. Have a great day. I am Carrie Beck with How to Homeschool My Child.